Alright, an update in the Celebrations market and the Boost Packs market. Fusion Strike is doing really, really well right now. Celebrations Ultra Collections at 800. I've been seeing some Celebration boxes with just recent demand recently, so I'll go over that. You see that UPCs have been selling like a bunch, like every 3 to 4 days. You see like 5 here, 3 here, 6 here. It recently hit 800. There have been several sales around 800. You see starting around July 28th to recently. And as far as like what's coming in next, there's 2 more left around 800, and it'll probably go 815, and maybe even like 820 something. And there's a jump to around toward 900. With the ETBs, ETBs also have this thing where it sells like more every like 3 to 4 days. You see like 23 and 11 and then 5 here. Celebrations has been selling for. There was a sale for 300. It was commonly selling before for 275 before that. Before that, it was around 250. Right now, it's about 262 or 260. So there's some cheaper ones available for anyone who wants them. That's kind of why I see with the market right now. There's some lower price sellers. Just buy a little bit in case anyone's interested in those. For the PCTBs, you also see like a lot of Celebrations products. I don't have them all listed, but even the non-main products like the collection boxes, they have this gap over here. There's no sales around, let's say, July 24th to July 28th roughly. But then you see sales start to pick up again. So you see like 2 selling yesterday, 2 selling the day before that. Took a break, and then 4, and then 3. So demand's been kind of increasing. A lot of Celebrations products have been following this pattern. These boxes are about just under 400. The sales have been recently had a sale for 400. Before that, it was about 390. So it's kind of maintaining its price point a little bit, just a little bit on the higher side as far as where prices are going. There's still quite a bit of bunch of around 400 surprisingly. So the price side doesn't seem as extreme for this one, but it is pretty slow and steady. For the booster packs, you'll see random spikes. So you see just a few days ago on August 4th, 50 were sold. Otherwise, you see like days before, I see like about 10 sold each day, 12, 11, 11. You'll see spikes, a lot of spikes around 50 packs sold. Not really sure who's doing that, but yeah, they will sell. And I guess there is like some cheaper packs commonly available, like C8. There's some at like 1850. But actually, really like Celebration is more around $20. It's around 1960, 1970. That's where most of the supply is. And then even Celebration chassis, like this gap is more extreme. But July 17th, July 31st, no sales. And suddenly the chests have been selling. And there were some spikes before. You see a 12 here, 10 here. But yesterday, 5 were sold. 2 days before that, 12 were sold. Right now, they're signed for 100. There's 25 on the market. And I think that's actually a pretty good deal. When I look at the history, there are some sales for 100, but there's a bunch of sales for like just yesterday. Some people bought them for like 125 each. And so this $100 one isn't too bad. After that, it goes like 110 and 117. So you want some cheap Celebrations, it's actually a pretty good deal. We buy both of them, you also save on shipping. And then for the booster box market, yeah, you're seeing a bunch of gains today. So the most noteworthy ones, Fusion Strike is up about $40, up 38. Now it's at 860. Brilliant Stars has risen. It's up $27 at 455. Lost Origin is up about 50, 53, $55 at 656. And then you see a bunch of price drops. We'll go over those later, but we'll go over these first. So honestly, as far as like price gains and momentum, the best boxes right now are Fusion Strike, Brilliant Stars, Lost Origin, and Silver Tempest. So Fusion Strike has been exploding demand. What I mean by that, you see like kind of like every other day it sells. Recently, it's been selling like 5, maybe 3. Like you see, 5 sold yesterday. 2 days before that, 5 sold. 2 days before that, 3 sold. 2 days before that, 6 sold. 2 days before that, 3 sold. Then took a little bit of break, and but you still see 3 and 4. So just a lot of Fusion Strike being sold. You see that, yeah, someone did buy them for 850. Otherwise, a lot of them were selling for 820 before this. And yeah, now we're at like 860 land. There's only 2 until 875. I think Fusion Strike has just become kind of the new sort of Evolving Skies in the sense that like Evolving Skies is just too expensive for a lot of people. And so this is like a Evolving Skies pricing, and it's just kind of the most obvious thing to get for a lot of people. There's a lot of hype behind it, so it kind of reminds me of Bitcoin, in the sense of like, hey, there's a lot of hype behind it. So even if it's not the best in the world, which I'm not saying it is or isn't, but it's just like people are gonna go after it. So the man's getting naturally high. Like, hey, what should I get for Sword and Shield? Like you say, Brilliant Stars or Fusion Strike. People are like, oh, Fusion Strike. Like there's just that sort of reaction to that. When I look at the price ladder, two of them go and then go eight. It goes up $15. Then you get like a decent amount of supply there. You get 7 here. Plus this is also about 875. So you get about 9 boxes, and you hit 900. So 900 has a little bit of a block there, unless there's like a huge amount of demand. Which honestly, if you sell 5 per day, those can be blown through. Otherwise, getting to 875 wouldn't be too surprising. For Brilliant Stars, you see it took like a pretty big break, July 31st to August 3rd. Like it was having a good amount of momentum, and it's not dropping. Then it sold 3, and then 4, and then 3. And then, yeah, a lot of the cheaper boxes are sold. There's actually only one of these until it goes up $5 more. And then going around 860, there's a couple of boxes, but not as bad as Fusion Strike. And then we go to 870, 470, 480. So this still has a good amount of momentum to go, especially if the demand does keep going. When I looked at Lost Origin, the case of Lost Origin is that it's kind of one of the only boxes where there's like one seller trying to sell like a ton of them off, which is really different. And like there's a huge price differential here. Everyone wants to sell Lost Origin for way more than this, so I'm not really sure what's gonna happen. With Moby's Corner, they were like listed a little below before this, but now they're the top seller on the price list. A lot of other people bought Lost Origin for about like 600, maybe plus shipping and stuff. And yeah, I'm not sure what's gonna happen with this. Usually, what happens is that the seller will start noticing that people will buy from this. And honestly, if you just look at this price differential, you're like, wait, that's like $100 increase. But there's just a ton of supply here. If they just decrease the supply, it's like 5, they would sell like so instantly. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that. And the Silver Tempest other box. So this box doesn't always go the fastest, but it has been having pretty good demand. The resold yesterday, it's just been having a lot of consistent demand. The bars look really low because overshadowed by this 23 sale. Otherwise, the bars are pretty good. If you compare this like other boxes, it's actually pretty comparable, except it doesn't have all the big spikes that other boxes have. And you'll keep seeing like a cheaper box available. So you see another at 385, and it goes to like 398. So it's just always really close to 400 nowadays. As far as other box doing activity, the first 4 boxes of Sword and Shield haven't really done much. Like Sword and Shield Base, Rebel Clash, Darkness Blaze, Vivid Voltage, all kind of taking breaks. Battle Style sold a bunch yesterday, or today. 6 sold yesterday. 1 sold the day before that, and then 6 sold the day before that. Otherwise, yeah, there's 2 boxes until it goes 225, so it just gained a bunch of momentum. Chilling Rain had a sale yesterday, had 2 boxes yesterday, which is pretty good to cut down some of the supply. Someone actually bought one for $500. And yeah, just it has like a similar price ladder. This is at 445, 455. You could do a $10 price increase. And then you get to 475 down here, and there's not like a ton of supply like compared to Fusion Strike. And it's really, if you just scroll down a little bit, you already get $500. So Chilling Rain, just more supply happens. Like the momentum for Sword and Shield hasn't gone yet, so it can still keep rising. And let's see, Evolving Skies sold another box. You're starting to see an increase in supply of demand of Evolving Skies. There's this gap again where there wasn't a lot of demand, and now you're seeing 1 box starting to sell per day again at this higher price of about $2,400. So the $2,500 box is sold, and there's still some cheaper boxes around $2,430 to $2,450. But otherwise, like yeah, people are actually paying these prices for the boxes. And I think the only other box is Astral Radiance. Astral Radiance had a bit more demand too, so 1 sold yesterday, 2 sold the day before. Still needs more momentum to really make some headway. But honestly, sometimes like things like large amount of quantities will be bought one day, so watch out for that. Yeah, as far as actual price increases, decreases, Vivid Voltage actually went down $5. Battle Styles went up $2. Chilling Rain went down 3. And then I already went over the rest of them. And then for Scarlet Violet, you see pretty much all price decreases. Like Paldea is down $12. Paradox is down $9. Temporal down 4, Twilight down 3, and then Surging down 2. Honestly, like, I don't really think it's the biggest deal in the world. Definitely, like, Scaravatas have as much momentum as Sword and Shield right now. But yeah, we're still going through supply. So Scarlet base has 6 boxes until 2:30, so it's still on its way for that. 1 box sold yesterday. Paldea evolves. What I kind of see is that like demand is still picking up a little bit more. So 5 were sold yesterday, and you see more like the prices have corrected a bit more, where a lot of the prices are now around 360 again. But you're still seeing almost every seller only has 1 box. Like literally until you get to this, like except for this seller down here at 380, and then this one seller at 360 has 3. Everyone only has 1 box. So even people who are trying to offload these, like they're either they don't have enough or they don't want to like oversell their Paldea. Which either case it kind of shows it's a supply shortage sort of thing. So I don't really think it's a big deal. Paldea will eventually reverse and go back up again, but yeah, right now you're seeing obvious signs of like people aren't just like you're probably not gonna see like just a big dump of Paldea evolved at this point. A lot of people have already done it, or people are like, "Hey, that's dumb. Like, I want more money." um, Obsidian Flames has been doing pretty well. So 3 sold yesterday, 2 sold today. Just generally, demand has like it's recovered. You see this graph kind of reverse. So it's still at 355. And yeah, the next price target's around like 357 or yeah, toward 357 to 360. Paradox went down a bunch. 2 sold yesterday, 1 sold today. Just the seller has it for cheaper, just 1 box, and then this one has 215, and he gets toward 220 again. So often happens with Paradox. Temporal Forces has been generally dropping lately, so it's staying around in the like mid 220s around. So 1 sold yesterday, 1 sold today. And yeah, you're just seeing like 2 boxes around that point. So there's not a lot of supply of temporal, so it just does these weird price movements. And it always has like that 240 in the distance. Like it doesn't take a log capsule to buy out temporal. Um, it's always going to be like a quite different case than the other booster boxes. Twilight sold 0 yesterday. Just one seller listed it for just a few hours less. Otherwise, it's still heading toward like 283 and then 290, still on the same track. So for a lot of Scarlet Vibe boxes, just a few cheaper sellers appear. For Stellar, the demand kind of dropped from 3 to 1 box, and Breaking Co has 3 more at 225. They were hitting 229. And then Surging Sparks is still maining its 247/248 price. 8 sold yesterday, and I really hope this is the time when Surging Sparks is going to really get above its to a new high. That wraps things up for this video. I hope you walked away with a better understanding of the market. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button for more deep dives in the Pokemon market. Tell me what's the next big investment you're considering in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you all later.